Cluskey, founder of the Serious Writers Guild. All those years ago, as I always say, 1996, I can't believe it. But let's get straight on this week in this 4 minutes on the net with Deck. Had an email from one of the members of the Serious Writers Guild in Israel, and he had a couple of unusual questions. First one he asked was, am I allowed to mention names of famous singers and bands in my songs? I said, absolutely. There are many examples of that around. Oh, Walk Like Madonna, all that. And how about the recent one, Move Like Jagger? There's an interesting one. Of course you can mention anybody's name. They will actually love it. But then he said, what is the royalty rate in the UK for a broadcast of a song on the radio and on MTV? And I explained, well, there are three differing royalties involved. There's PRS, that's for the writers of the song. It's approximately, and this is just an approximation now because it'll change with the length of the song, and it'll also change with the radio station that it's played on. They all have different rates. But the highest probably would be approximately for mainstream radio in the UK for a 4-minute song, 4 to 5 minutes, would possibly be as high as £87. Well, it's easy to check that. You just ring up the PRS in your particular country. In this instance, Yossi is asking me about the UK. So ring up Radio 1, Radio 2, Radio 3 or Radio 4 and BBC, and they will tell you. PPL is the next one, which is Phonographic Performance Limited. Now that is specifically for the performers of the tune on the radio or whatever is being played, for the performance of the recorded work. Now, the royalty, it's always been a mystery to us writers and performers. It's always been a mystery. They're not very keen to give out exactly how much they pay. So the idea is we simply shut up and take the money. They used to pay with little green checks, and nowadays it's transferred. And it used to be great fun. We'd all say to each other, oh, did you get your little green check? Recently when they had the payouts, and that was always good fun. MCPS is the other one, Mechanical Copyright Protection Society. Now these will all be subtly different in your own country. You've got Harry Fox in the States, you've got BIEM in the States, you've got all sorts of various other organizations, but they basically do the same thing. MCPS picks up the PRS that's due when a record is pressed or duplicated. See? Now, if somebody is duplicating and then selling a CD, they actually have got to get an MCPS license to do that. And on the license, they've got to declare how many they anticipate selling. So if it's 100,000, 200,000, a million, they've got to declare that and pay for the license up front. Then they've got to give the length of the title, that's very important, and then the category it's in. If it's background music, if it's a pop song, if it's a classical song, if it's a background to a poem, you've got to give all that sort of detail, and that's all carefully then worked out by the MCPS. But basically the money is paid up front to MCPS, who are, they're in alliance with PRS. So then PRS then distributes it to the money to the publishers and the writers, and that's the way it works. He asked another question here about MTV. Well, MTV again is a little bit of it's a black art really. We don't really know. It's negotiated again up front, and MCPS get involved with that, and that's an MCPS license to play. It's licensed to the TV company, and that's quite complex. Usually negotiated, can be about £250 to £400. I would say for about a 4-minute song, and that is incidentally why so many of the huge artists in the world, they're so eager to do these enormous television benefit shows, because they'll give their services free. Though the people putting it on will usually have to pay for crew and all that sort of stuff, but the artists basically give their services free. However, they never say the huge amount that they pick up from royalties. enormous amount they pick up from royalties from all the TV stations all around the world. So they actually make an awful lot of money. He's got a final question. He says he's a member of the Serious Writers Guild, actually. You said in your program to send a letter to the big boss. Is it right to contact this way to a person who is the CEO of the company? An Israeli-American woman told us that it is not polite to contact this way, and it is best to write CEO. Well, I said to him, Americans have got sometimes very strange etiquette as regards names and titles. Americans use sir a lot, even in conversation. It's very flattering. Declan Donnelly, who's Anton Deck in this country, in the UK, he has that lovely habit, and it's so flattering. When I spoke to him a little while ago, and he's saying sir all the time, and it's so flattering. Americans do that. The higher the status, I say, the more usual it is to write dear Mr. or Ms., MS, or Mrs., if you know that she is married. It would be unusual to write dear CEO. No, I don't. It wouldn't be right. The recognised way, I say here, is to put for the attention of the CEO, Mr. or Ms. da 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 da. This means that the PA, the personal assistant, will then know it's for that person and automatically give it to the boss. So that's what I said to Yossi. Let's see that right anymore. Oh yeah. I say it's important to follow the recognised mannerly format for contacting those in power. Over-familiarity doesn't sit right. You know, don't say Charlie or Fred, even if you know his name. Like Richard Branson, don't say, hi Richard. He just wouldn't like it. They do respect these sort of people. Alan Sugar and that. They don't want dear Alan or hi Alan. No, thank you very much. It's Mr. Sugar, sir. That's the way to do it. In conversation, sir is always so flattering for those in power. Always remember that. So this is Deck. The end of another 4 minutes on the net with Deck, and you can contact me if you're a member of the Serious Writers Guild. You know that. You've got my phone number. You've got my Skype address. So get in touch if you've got any queries. Or if you've got any queries, put them down below. I'll get to as many as I can. See you next week. Bye.